artists, in this video we are going to draw a landscape of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, including the Birdies made by artist Klaus Oldenburg. So grab your favorite supplies, a ruler if you have one, and meet me back here. All right, to get started, we need to have our paper horizontal, that's side to side. So that way we have space to include the birdies. So if your paper is vertical, up and down, let's turn it so it is horizontal, side to side. If you were able to get a ruler and have one with you, you can use it in these first few steps. If you don't have a ruler, that's totally okay. You could use a scrap piece of paper in the straight edge from that, or just not worry about it. The first step we are going to do is create a straight horizontal line all the way across our paper, somewhere in the middle. We don't want to make it too high because then we won't have a lot of room for the sky. So it's best to maybe go a little lower than what you think is the middle of your paper. All right, now that we've got our straight horizontal line, it is going to act as our horizon line. A horizon line is where the sky and the ground meet. So even though we have the building here and some minimalistic trees in the background, this is still our horizon line. The ground and the sky are meeting behind this building. All right, so I challenge you, the next time you go outside, look in the distance and see where you can find where the sky and the ground meet. All right, our next step, somewhere in the middle, let's add a shorter, still straight and horizontal line above our horizon line. Once we have that, we're going to create diagonal lines off of the shorter line down to our horizon line. It is going to create a trapezoid. Sorry about my camera. Don't know why it keeps wanting to refocus. If I'm going too fast, pause the video, finish up where you're at before you hit play again. You can always pause wherever you need to. Inside this trapezoid, we're going to add a few straight horizontal lines to act as stairs up to the entrance of the museum. Once you've completed those, on top of the trapezoid, we are going to add a square. Oops, sorry. Sometimes I just get going and I add too many lines on top of each other. Don't worry about that. Now that we have our square, we're going to add a few details. Inside the square, at the top, add another horizontal line across. This is going to act as our detail for the top of our columns. The entrance to the museum has columns supporting that part of the roof. And to make these columns, we are going to use vertical straight lines on either side of the square. Either 2 or 3, however many you think you can fit inside the square. Once you've completed your columns, at the bottom here, we're going to use a capital letter T. And that is going to act as our doors. To finish this detail here, we're going to add a rectangle on top of the square and some extra vertical lines inside for windows. And that finishes the entrance part of the museum. The last part of the building, we're going to add 4 horizontal lines coming off the square just to add balance and to finish off the building. So at the top of the square, I'm going to make my first horizontal line, and then I'm going to add my second here where I added that little rectangle at the top. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And there we have it. So this doesn't have a ton of detail. We're making it very minimal, but it still has the look of the Nelson Atkins. All right, next, what we're going to do is work on our first birdie. And we're gonna focus down here on the right side. The first part of the birdie that we're going to create is the bottom part, and it looks like an upside down gumdrop. We don't want to draw it completely like on its side. We want it to be angled. I'm going to use a letter U on a slight angle. We don't want it to end up looking like a letter C. And then connect the top. Whoops, my lead is acting funny. Connecting the top, so upside down gumdrop. There are two ways that you could make your birdie in a simplified way. It can get pretty confusing. Now, one way is to use the ends of the gumdrop. So I'm gonna make a straight line, straight vertical line going up, and that is okay if it comes over into the building. And then I'm going to have my second line going out. We basically want these lines to make it look like a giant triangle. Next, just like we did for the bottom part of the birdie, kind of like the gumdrop, we are going to connect. It works best if you stop these at the same point. You want them to be the same length if you can. Let's connect. And then, not right next to the bottom part of the birdie, but a little above, we're gonna make the same curve. Now you could leave it just like this and color, or leave this white like the paper. I'm actually gonna go ahead and erase the part of the horizon line. Or you could go through and add some extra lines. Goodness, I keep breaking my lead. Because a birdie for the game badminton looks like it has feathers. You could even change this to make them look pointy on the end, but you don't have to. All right, so that's one way that you can make your birdie. Another way, I'm gonna use a second piece of paper here. So I'm gonna use the letter U again, add an angle. Remember, we don't want it to end up looking like an actual letter C. We want our U to be on an angle. And connect the top. And you're gonna go up just like you did for this birdie, but instead you're gonna come back down, loop-de-loop, go back up, loop-de-loop, make another loop one last time. That's okay if it looks like it's going off the page, and come back down. So if you like this look, which is a little bit more creative, definitely try the loop-de-loops for the feathers instead. Either one will work and looks really cool. Now that we have our big birdie, let's focus on our little birdie in the back. So the Nelson has two birdies on this side and one on the other side of the building. So we are going to make a small letter U going the opposite direction. We want it to be angled again. Connect, and we're basically going to repeat these same steps. So I'm going to make my lines coming out on either end They're about the same height or length, and connect. Add a little bit of a space. Looks like I need to erase a little bit of that line, and then add my extra lines. So again, you could do the loop-de-loops if you'd like. We're almost done here before we start coloring and practicing our value scale. The Nelson has 2 sidewalks on either end of the building here, but they're lined with trees, and trees are actually blocking part of the building. But instead of drawing like individual trees, we're gonna do what architects do and kind of artfully squiggle. Now we're not gonna go like super fast squiggle. We're going to kind of make these like little jagged but not super crazy lines off to the edge of the paper. You could even come down here and finish it some more to make it look like trees are coming on down. Now you would need to erase the rest of the horizon line. And I'm going to start on the other side of my birdie here and come up to where I stopped my horizontal lines for the building, and gently make my way to the other side of the paper. And I think I want to add trees coming down on this side as well. I need to erase my lines. And there you have it. You have a landscape of the Nelson Atkins. Now, when you're coloring it, you can make it daytime, you can make it nighttime, it could be a sunrise, sunset. The choice is up to you. I would like for you to try and practice using value scale. Now, value scale is the light and dark of one color. So here in the sky with my blue color, it's very, very dark at the top, and then I lightened up on the pressure and then got even lighter as I got down to the building. If you've ever noticed as you stepped outside, the sky is much lighter, like a lighter blue, closer to the ground, and it gets darker as it goes up into the sky. So that's what I was creating here. I even used a few different greens to create kind of a value scale for the grass. Now the bottom of the birdies is orange and the feathers are white, so you could leave those white. But to practice a value scale, it works best with color pencils and crayons or oil pastels, or you could even use a regular pencil to create your value scale. But to do this, you're gonna take one of those art supplies, I'm using a crayon, and you're gonna press really, really hard to start. And the color's gonna look really dark or like really bright. And then as you keep going, you're gonna just get lighter and lighter with your pressure, almost until it feels like the crayon isn't touching the paper. And it ends up looking like a little tornado. So here I'll use my pencil here. And you can do the same thing. I'm pressing down really, really hard, and then I'm getting a little lighter and easing up on the pressure, and I'm getting really, really light, really, really light, really, really light. And that definitely looks like a little tornado. So practice with those colors. You could even blend colors this way. I really like doing that. So sometimes I'll take like a different color and I will press really, really hard, get a little lighter, and then that's a good way that you can like start blending colors together. That's how I did the greens here. I hope you enjoyed this landscape and having your own picture of a Kansas City landmark, and enjoy.